All right, good afternoon, Hillcrest community. We're out here on hole number 6 of Hillcrest and want to talk a little bit about the Boise Open and the course conditions that Joe and his crew are currently preparing for the tour players, and how that might impact your play here at Hillcrest here in the next 3 weeks. A couple of things that do happen. We start to raise up the mower height for the rough. So the rough's going to start getting a little deeper and a little more challenging. So we're going to talk a little bit about that and some strategies a little bit later on as to how you can better execute shots that may happen to go in the rough. The first mistake that we make, though, is just in our general habit of being a great member here, and that's not necessarily watching your shot all the way through as to where it goes. You just watch it halfway and then you walk away, which is great. One thing that we can do to improve that, though, is watch it all the way until it hits the ground. That way you have a great idea, a much more focused area as to where that ball may have ended up, which will, if you spend maybe 5 more seconds here on the tee box watching where it goes, that'll save you a 2 to 3 minute search out there trying to find where the ball may have gone, and it'll cost you a few strokes out there. So really quick, I want to show you what that might look like. Again, it doesn't take much time. I'm going to watch this shot all the way through to the end, no matter where it goes. Ball's down, now I can pick it up. I saw where it went, have a great idea of where it might have ended up. Now let's go look for it and we'll hit the next shot. Turns out we didn't have to look too far on this one. Happy to hit a great shot. I'm out here in the middle of the fairway. One other thing we wanted to touch on is just the care for the course. This is unrelated to the Boise Open. This is just an everyday expectation that we have and that we should have as individuals for the care of our own golf course. And that's just filling in divots. We fill every golf cart and every push cart. We provide sand and seed bottles. It's expected that we use that. If you are a walker, we do expect you to find somebody else in the group that has those resources, fill those divots, or otherwise fill in your divot with the divot that you had hit from your shot. So I'm out here about 80 yards from the flag. I'm probably not going to take a huge divot, but we'll see what happens, and then we'll go to the next shot. Okay, as you can see, I hit just a little bit of a divot, didn't raise up a whole lot of turf, which is totally fine. I'm actually going to fill that in because there's some sparse area. We want that to get filled in. Just simply add a little sand and seed mix, tap it down, level it out for the next group to come through just in case they happen to hit it. Now we'll go make the putt and fix our divot on the green. Okay, so here we are again. We made our way to the green. Just wanted to point out really quick, only with 80 yards, I still made a pitch mark on the green. You know, it's pretty shallow, maybe 1/4 of an inch deep. It kind of blends in with the contour of the green. Sometimes it can be hard to see, but what will help is if you identify how far away that divot can be from where your ball actually ends up. I had some pretty good loft on mine, and you can see I'm a good 18 feet away from where my ball hit the ground and where it ended up. So the ball's not always going to be right next to where your divot is. Keep in mind the trajectory that the ball comes in is going to determine where that divot is. But when we do fix it, we expect you to go in from the side, push in. Go in from the side, push in, level that out, tap it down with the flat surface of our putter. It's like it was never there. Missed it. That's all right. We're going to go to the next hole. We're going to show you a little bit about how to hit the ball out of the rough and some other challenging shots that the tour conditions are going to present. So we made our way after a tee shot over here on number 7. Wanted to continue with some of the Boise Open conditions, showcase a little bit about what can happen and what things we maybe need to consider that might be different from our normal course of play. And one of the biggest things that we need to look at is what lie do I actually have and what am I able to do with it. Don't know if you can see it from that angle, but this ball is pretty buried and this rough hadn't even begun to really grow out to what it's going to be in a few weeks. But there's a lot of grass around this golf ball. There's not a lot of opportunity to get a golf club on this one to be able to shape it or to hit it down range very far. So oftentimes, you know, I'm a good 250 yards away from the green. I'm gonna pull out my hybrid just by habit. And what I notice here is it just feels nice and thick with grass behind that golf ball. It just doesn't feel like I'm gonna be able to advance it and get it down there where I need to. So that's not a great option. A couple other things we would want to consider are which iron then to hit. If I can't get to the green, there's no sense in trying to hit it down there as far as I possibly can. We need to lay up. Laying up as close to a hazard or as close to a bunker or the rough line, we don't need to be that aggressive. We just need to put it in the best spot possible, trying to get out of our trouble area that we're currently in. So what I have here in this hand is a 7-iron, and then I have a pitching wedge. The other conditions I'm considering are what's actually in my line of flight. Right now, I've got 2 big pine trees in my way, so advancing it really far down the hole is not much of an option, not without bringing other penalty areas like the other side of the rough on this hole into play. So my best option for this shot is probably just a pitching wedge. Has some loft on it, it's not going to go too far, it's the shorter of the 3 clubs, so I have a great chance of controlling it. So one thing we want to do and consider is gripping down on the club, so gripping more by about 1 inch down, choke down on the grip. That'll give us a little more control. Okay, the other thing I want to consider is putting the ball just towards the right center of our stance. So if this were the middle, just right here in the back, that's going to create a little steeper angle. And what we're trying to do is to connect with as much ball first as we possibly can. Okay, so if I hit really far back behind here in the rough, in the grass is going to grab the golf club, it's going to turn that heel right over, ball's going to shoot out left, we're probably going to chunk it and hit it maybe 20 yards in front of us. So we want to try to get that ball back in our stance just a fraction, and we want to swing nice and tall with our hands, swinging down on it and through the shot as best we can. Okay, our whole goal is to be strong with our wrists, not nice and tight, but just strong, steering away from our tree that's in front of us, ball just right of center, hands nice and high on the swing, and rip through it. Okay, hopefully get that ball out there downrange in a better spot than what we currently are, and we'll hopefully find a better spot, allow you to play golf a little bit easier, even though we have some tough tour conditions. We'll see you on the next shot. Okay, we've made our way greenside here on number 7. We found actually a really thick part of the rough. Ball's kind of sitting down a little bit. We also need to consider what club we're hitting around the green. This is where the strokes really tend to add up, and especially as those conditions get tougher. I have almost the entire green to work with, but one of the things that we can do, just the same as our approach shot from out of the rough on this, club selection, and then let's just get the ball in a better position than where we are here, not trying to be too cute with it. As this rough tends to get nice and thick, even around the green, we want to consider ball position and then the club being choked down on, just a fraction, okay? We want to have our weight just slightly forward. What we tend to see is people are more neutral or they have their weight back trying to lift that ball up, and what happens is we hit too far behind that ball. So if we could actually find our way with about 60% of our weight on our left or forward foot, that's going to help us out quite a bit. Again, choking down on that club just a little bit, maybe inch and a half, and then making sure that our hands swing nice and high as opposed to down here below us. When they go down here, again, club shallows out, we tend to hit behind the ball, too much grass, very hard to control. Okay, we want to treat this almost like a bunker shot. So weight a little forward. I'm going to try to open up that club face just a little bit, have a ball positioned more in the middle of my stance. I'm just going to try to land this one maybe 20 feet in front of me somehow and let it run the rest of the way as long as I have a putt coming at it, okay? You can see that ball really jumped. Okay, the club did a great job of getting down through that grass for the moment. I've got an uphill putt, I'm okay with that, and otherwise I'm in a better spot now than what I was sitting right here chipping, and I'm much closer to the hole. So one last thing we wanted to touch on today before we send you off is as the course conditions do get tougher for the Open, as we get a little bit closer to that, we do tend to see pace of play slow down by 20-30 minutes per round. Let's all do our part. There's some things that we can do outside of just choosing the right club, watching that golf ball go into the rough in the right spot, and that's being ready to play. Do less of watching your partner and where they're hitting. Be ready to go when it's your turn. Go to your ball instead of grouping around one. Go to your ball and be ready to play when it's your turn. Play ready golf is another thing that really helps us all out. If we all do our part in these different areas, we're all going to have a great experience and enjoy golf together. All right, talk to you soon.